Okay. Babumbanga.
Morning, Madam Speaker.
Arabiko. Morning, how are you?
All right, Madam Speaker, very well,
Is
thanks.
everything okay that side?
The bandwidth is low again.
Is the video?
Yeah, it's similar to last week for now.
Is it?
Yeah.
But it's,
the background is fine.
but it's full here.
You are freezing.
Okay, let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm freezing.
Well,
is that okay now?
the sound is fine. I think there are some seconds delay. But on your picture, but the sound is fine.
Okay. Okay, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. There's some delay.
Okay,
Yes.
we'll see how it goes. Okay, thanks. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I don't know why it
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Good morning, honorable members.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Speaker.
Good morning, Speaker.
Good morning, Speaker.
Recording in progress.
Thank you very much, honorable member. It is now 8:30. I suggest we start. So far, we've received one apology. Is the apology of from Honorable Frolic. Are there any other apologies? None, honorable members. Shall we then proceed to consider the items on the agenda? Yes, Baba, I didn't see your hand. Yes. Yes, Mr. Castle.
I noticed that Honorable Frolic is on the platform and his hand is up.
Mr. Castle.
Madam Speaker.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Honorable Frolic is here and his hand is up. Well, on my system, okay, there he is. Thank you very much. Honorable Frolic.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker, and also good morning to the honorable members. Honorable Speaker, I'm joining the meeting, but I
Honorable
request
Frolic, I
to
recognize you.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to everyone. I request to be allowed to leave the meeting at 9 a.m., Honorable Speaker, because we must travel to another location just after 9 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolic. Thank you. Apology accepted. Honorable members, shall we then consider the items on the agenda? Okay, can somebody move for the adoption of the agenda?
Sheikh Imam moves, Honorable Speaker.
Will someone move for the adoption of the?
Sheikh Imam moves, Chair.
Thank you
Honorable
very
Speaker.
much, Honorable Sheikh Imam. Any seconders? Thank you, Honorable Sheikh Imam. Any seconders?
Good morning, Madam Speaker. I would like to second the motion from
Yes.
Honorable Imam. Madam Speaker's line may be having some difficulty. We're checking that.
Thank you. You are having difficulties. Otherwise, am I audible? Remember?
Your line is bad.
Mr. Caso, maybe the speaker should switch off the video to get a better network, better bandwidth.
We'll facilitate that.
Are you there, Honorable Speaker?
Yeah, she is, honorable member. We are trying to fix the line.
I am here. I'm really sorry, honorable members. My network is very unstable. I don't know what is happening. But honorable members, I was still then raising matters arising. The adoption of the minutes. Has anyone moved for the adoption of the minutes? Honorable Tebuho? You are there?
Speaker, you'll pardon me, I missed you when you called for that, but I just wanted to indicate that my minutes are just one page of the front page of the minutes. The rest are not there. I don't know what.
Okay, thanks.
I only received the one copy, the front page.
Okay, Honorable Luate. Honorable Luate, we will check with your team that side. But shall we then proceed, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Good morning to you. Good morning to all colleagues. Honorable Speaker, I hereby move that you adopt these minutes as full reflection. I have all pages, Honorable Luate. They are 6 pages. I all have. That is why I'm moving for the adoption. Thank you. I'm done,
Thank
Honorable
you
Speaker.
very much, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority. The minutes having been adopted. Yes. Adopted. Answers. Any seconders, Honorable Member, Honorable Pap.
Speaker, I just
Honorable
wanted to
Papo.
indicate that I wish to second and also appeal to members of the NAPC. If there are difficulties with the minutes, they should address them with Mr. Mbanga before the meeting.
Thank you very much, Honorable Papo. Minutes have been adopted, honorable members. We then proceed to deal with matters arising. And may I request Mr. Kaso to take us through the matters arising, honorable members?
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and good morning again, honorable members.
Yes.
The issue of deadline for bills, when we get to the item on bills office, the matter will be dealt with there, whether we have received any bills on the 4th of September as expected. The processing of the marriage and divorce bills, I'm going to recognize, with your permission, ma'am, Ms. van der Merwe, to deal with that. And after I've given this report. And then on the issue of the date for medium-term budget policy statement, honorable members will be aware that when the date was discussed last week, we raised the issue of the IPU, which is scheduled to meet from the 23rd to the 27th of October. And there was a request from Madam Speaker that the date be reconsidered. I am informed that the date of 1st of November is now the date that has been proposed for the MTBPS. And obviously, we're going to have to activate the admin processes if that date is agreed to by this committee. And I might just add that we have also checked the implications of that date for our processes within Parliament. Whereas we would have finalized the budget process by the 1st of December, it will now be finalized, I think, on the 5th of December. I'll confirm the dates later on, but it is still within the first week of December that the process will be finalized by both houses of Parliament. And then the fourth issue related to the matter concerning Judge Hlope and whether there was any impediment within Parliament in terms of dealing with the matter. We have checked with legal services, and legal services advises that there is no such impediment at the moment, and therefore the matter could be dealt with. Members will recall that in 2021, when this matter served before this committee, because there were still appeals underway at the time, this committee was of the view that the matter should be held in abeyance. So it means that it is this committee that will have to activate that process should it deem that appropriate. And then on the matter of the BRICS Forum, the item is on the agenda, which will be dealt with in detail this morning. I would now, with your permission, ma'am, recognize Advocate van der Merwe, who is going to take us through the issues raised by Honorable Hendricks last week. Thank you.
Good morning, Speaker, and good morning, members. Mr. Hendricks raised a number of issues related to a Constitutional Court judgment, Women's Legal Centre, which dealt with Muslim marriages. And Mr. Hendricks himself has then introduced a number of bills, private members' bills, dealing with these matters, and his concerns were raised in respect of the executive bills on the same matters. What we can confirm is that on the private members' bill registration, interim registration of Muslim marriages, Mr. Hendricks did brief the committee. The department has also responded to the portfolio committee. And the next step then is for the committee to deliberate on that bill and decide on a motion of desirability. What has, however, happened is that the department has indicated that they will include the private members' bill's content into the executive bill. And Mr. Hendricks has then indicated that if that is the case, then he will withdraw the private members' bill. So that process still needs to play out. The executive bill on marriages has not yet been introduced, so we cannot make that determination yet. However, there is no confusion with public comments on the private members' bill and the executive bill, because the executive bill is not yet before Parliament. So comments on the executive bill will go to the department. Comments on the private members' bill will come to Parliament. So there should not be any confusion on that in that regard. Mr. Hendricks is correct in respect of the deadline, 27 June 2024, in respect of the Marriages Act. Our office has been in contact with the Departments of Justice and Home Affairs to confirm what is the situation and whether they will be approaching the court for an extension. It seems unlikely, given that next year is an election year, that we will make that deadline. And then just lastly, Mr. Hendricks also raised a concern about his bills being just taken into the executive bills without recognition to him. I also have discussed with Mr. Hendricks personally in this week. Legislation is not subject to copyright, so they cannot be plagiarized. And of course, the reason for that is simply that people need to be able to copy legislation. So unfortunately, in that regard, there is no legal concern in respect of taking from one bill and putting it into another bill. There could perhaps be some issue of recognition of the original author. In respect of the divorce bills, the executive bill on divorce has already been introduced. Both the executive bill and the private members' bill are before the Portfolio Committee on Justice to be considered. If there are any concerns on constitutionality, this is where that must be considered. The Portfolio Committee must hear inputs on the constitutionality of the bill. There is also a legal advisor allocated in respect of the executive bill as well as in respect of the private members' bill, and both of them will be able to advise the committee further. So the processing of the executive bill and the private members' bill related to divorce, to the Divorce Act, is in the hands of the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions? Are there any comments on the matter? I see the hand of Honorable Frolik, followed by Honorable Al-Jamaa, Honorable Hendricks.
Now, Honorable Speaker, and good morning once again. As you are aware that we are here with the parliamentary rugby team in France, I must indicate that in line with the discussions that took place last week in the NAPC, I've had a Zoom meeting with the Honorable Hendricks, where he raised certain matters. Certain matters are of a political nature, and other matters involve the Department of Justice and Correctional Services. I am having a meeting early next week with the Deputy Minister of Justice so that we can deal with some of the issues that the Honorable Hendricks raised. And I then undertook that in consultation with the NA table and legal services that we will revert back to the Honorable Hendricks. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolik. Honorable Hendricks, would you like to comment? I see your hand.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I am very pleased that the matter is receiving the attention and very grateful for your assistance in this regard. However, I hope you will just allow me to make one point, Honorable Speaker. You can't have a state advocate and you can't have someone from the parliamentary legal drafting team issuing certificate of constitutional compliance when reading the two bills, and I'm referring to the private member's bill on divorce and the executive bill on divorce. When reading the bill, you see that number one, it doesn't comply with the Constitutional Court order. That is fine, that may be political, but it also doesn't comply with South Africa's constitution. For the Speaker and Parliament to put an executive bill in the public domain that is not constitutional compliant, and advocate can tell us whether it is fully constitutional compliant, I think that is an embarrassment for the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Hendricks. I've noted your comments, and I would like us to reserve discussion of that matter for now until next week. Then we will get a full report from Honorable Frolik. As he has indicated, he has started having discussions with you and will be meeting with the Deputy Minister of Justice this coming week so that the matter is put to rest. So we will be able then to receive a report on Thursday next week. Honorable Chief Whip of the Opposition.
Thanks, Speaker. Speaker, thank you to Mr. Castle for his report on the Judge Thorpe matter. And from my understanding from his report, it's now incumbent on the NAPC to revive the matter so that the report can serve before the House. And considering that a significant amount of time has passed since 2021, and none of these appeals have materialized, I think it's important, Speaker, that we take the decision to revive the matter so that we can see it to its conclusion, because neither the NAPC nor the Justice Committee are currently dealing with it. So can I ask that a decision be made then if that's what is needed? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip of the Opposition, Honorable Kwangwa.
Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I agree entirely with Honorable Sivyo Kwahobe that the matter needs to be revived. And I think before the end of the term, we need to be seized with this matter so that we can finalize it or do whatever is required of us so that we don't leave this problem for the next parliament as a legacy. We have a responsibility to act on it and act on it as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwankwa. Honorable members, any other hand? No. None, honorable members. So hopefully next week when we meet, we will then come with proposals. I see the hand and I note you, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on matters arising, page 2, I just want to, matter arising number 5 on page 2 of the minutes. I want to request you, Speaker, that I raise the matter when a parliamentary program is tabled. it has something to do with the plenary of the 11. I want to suggest, therefore, because it has something to do with program, I don't raise it here on matters arising. I await for the program to be tabled. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party. Are there any other comments, any further comments on the matters arising, honorable members, before I proceed to deal with the items on the agenda? None. Then we proceed, honorable members. Item number, there is another matter arising, which is the BRICS Parliamentary Forum. I would have thought that it should not be discussed under matters arising. It should be a standalone item on the agenda. Is that okay, honorable members? Is that agreed?
It is a standalone item after the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaswa. May I now invite Ms. Giba to present a report of the committee section?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good morning to honorable members and my colleagues. The report of the committee section on all bills and matters before it. I would like to start on slide number 2, Honorable Speaker. We have 40 ordinary bills before the NA committees, as well as the finalization of the Correctional Services Amendment Bill, reduced the number to 40. I would like to move to slide number 6, where I would like to indicate here that this committee has got a new finalization date, which was not previously reported, on the Railway Safety Bill, which is the 19th of September. Slide number 10, the matter before the PC on Cooperative Governance, which is the Independent Municipal Demarcation Authority Bill, was previously reported as to be finalized by the 12th of September. However, the committee is still finalizing the public participation program, and they will indicate later on the date to finalize that bill. Moving to slide number 15, we have a new finalization date for the matter. What is it? Slide number 15, the Correctional Services Bill, as I've indicated previously, was finalized yesterday. Then moves to slide number 23. On this slide, we also wish to inform the committee that the Electoral Commission vacancies will now be finalized on the 12th of September. Lastly, Madam Speaker, one of the petitions on slide number 27, that committee on cooperative governance will now receive a first briefing on the petition on the 13th of September. This concludes my report, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kiba. Thank you for the report. Honorable members, are there any comments on the report presented by the committee section? Any comments, any questions of clarity? None, honorable members. I see the hand of Honorable Froley.
Well, good morning once again, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the opportunity to make this intervention. I must firstly express my appreciation to the different chief whips for the cooperation that we received in terms of the number of public hearings and other oversight visits that took place during the constituency period. However, Madam Speaker, I want to bring it to the attention of this committee that there is a certain tendency that we need to nip in the bud, and that is where members of committees who go on public hearings either don't turn up or they simply stay away without any valid reason. Secondly, also one or two committees, the committee on the 11th hour decides that they cannot proceed with an oversight visit. By that time, a lot of money has been committed by Parliament to these activities. And I will be making a proposal, Honorable Speaker, to your office on how that money will be recovered. I think it is ill-discipline when members confirm their participation in an activity. Parliament makes all the arrangements and pay their hotels and the flights, and they then either don't turn up, or the committee then, on the 11th hour, simply cancels the public hearings. It does not portray a good image of Parliament and our commitment in getting the public involved in the lawmaking process, and this is not sustainable. But I will send you the proposal, Speaker, but somebody will have to pay for cancellations that they have committed themselves to. We cannot allow the taxpayer to continuously fund the bill for fruitless and wasteful expenditure. It will reflect on the audit of Parliament. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frolik. I must say that, honorable members, this matter my attention has been drawn to this development, that once arrangements have been made, and at times, even the SNT has been already given out to honorable members, and the members simply withdraw from the sittings. I think this is a matter which requires the attention of both chairs and the whips of committees. But of course, then Honorable Frolik will present a proposal on how best we should deal with the matter and how we can then get the money of Parliament back. Honorable members, we then, Honorable Kwankwa, I see your hand again. Honorable Kwankwa.
Speaker, unless maybe I didn't capture Honorable Frolik properly. But if it's with respect to people who confirm attendance to parliamentary events and then they end up not going, in the past we used to take money. Parliament used to take money from people's salaries.
You are repeating exactly what he has said. He's reporting that there is a tendency of people confirming, agreeing to committees, confirming that there will be public hearings. And when it is time to attend those public hearings, members simply do not turn up. And the proposal is therefore that we need to find a way of addressing that matter. And I'm suggesting that the chairperson, the whips, together with Honorable Frolik, should discuss the matter and submit a proposal to the Office of the Speaker. Okay.
Agreed, Speaker. Apologies. Agreed.
Thank you. Then we proceed, honorable members. Are there any other hands? Any other? None. Honorable members, then we proceed to deal with the Bills Office. And I recognize Dr. Mbata.
Good morning, Honorable Speaker. Good morning, honorable members and colleagues. On this report, I will report on the updates that are on slide 2 and slide 3. On slide 2, Honorable Speaker, I'm reporting that there are 5 bills that are on the order paper, but the Correctional Services Bill reported late yesterday, so it's part of the 4, so it's now 5 on the NA order paper, not 4. And bills before committees, we now have 40 since the Correctional Services has already reported. And there's 1 bill that was introduced after we met. And Honorable Speaker, on the next slide, which is slide number 3, I will be reporting on the 2023 Executive Legislative Program. I will request my colleagues to flight the report on the analysis on the bills that were supposed to be introduced or supposed to be sent to Parliament, which was the 42 bills. Can I have the report, colleagues, on the analysis of the legislative program? And on this analysis, Honorable Speaker, I will be reporting that there were 42 bills that were supposed to be introduced. Thank you. There were 42 bills that were supposed to be introduced or to be sent to Parliament for introduction in 2023. So they were divided into 4. The first list was a list of bills pronounced during the 2023 SONA. So on the list of bills that were pronounced on the 2023 SONA, 3 bills were introduced. So in this list, the three bills that were introduced, it's the Public Procurement Bill, the Electricity Regulation Amendment Bill, and the Post Bank Amendment Bill. I must mention that the Post Bank Amendment Bill was introduced in 2022, and it is now with the President. It was sent for assent. So it's no longer before Parliament. It was passed. And the next set of bills was the mandatory money bills. So of the mandatory money bills, there were 17 bills that were sent, that were supposed to be sent for introduction. Only 3 bills were sent and introduced. So it's the Division of Revenue Bill, which has already been assented to, the Appropriation Bill, it has already been assented to, and the Public Procurement Amendment Bill, which is before the PC on Finance. So I must also indicate, Madam Speaker, that of the 17 bills, some of these bills are the ones that will be introduced during the MTBPS in November, as Mr. Kaso has already highlighted. So we are still awaiting for some of these bills. And then the next list of bills were the legislation with constitutional court deadlines. So under the legislation with constitutional court deadlines, we had 9 bills that were supposed to be introduced, but we have only received 3 bills. So 3 bills have been introduced for those that have the constitutional court deadlines. We have the Correctional Services Amendment Bill, which is now on the order paper. It was reported on yesterday. And the Copyright Amendment Bill. I must mention, Madam Speaker, that this bill was introduced in 2017 and returned by the President and is still before Parliament. It is before the SC on Trade. And the other one that has been introduced is the RICA Amendment Bill, and it's before the PC on Justice. So the final list was on the critical priority bills. Under the critical priority bills, Madam Speaker, we had 12 bills that were supposed to be introduced, but only 5 has since been introduced. And of the 5 bills that have been introduced, we've got the National Prosecuting Authority Bill, which is before the PC on Justice, the IP Amendment Bill, it's also before the PC on Police, and we've got the National Small Enterprise Development Bill before the PC on Small Business, and the Companies Amendment Bills before the PC on Trade, and the Companies Second Amendment Bill before the PC on Trade as well. So, Madam Speaker, new bills that have been introduced in 2023 are 12. So 2 of those bills were already before Parliament. So the total number of bills that were introduced of the 42 is 14. So that's all from us, Madam Speaker, for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Mbata. Now, honorable members, any comments? What I would like to establish, honorable, from you, Dr. Mbata, is, remember, we had given the deadline of the 4th of September to the Office of the Leader of Government Business. I just need to understand from you whether we have received, from my side, I haven't seen it, whether we've received any correspondence which points to the fact that all pieces of legislation which are due for attention this year have been submitted. Dr. Mbata?
Yes, Honorable Speaker, my apologies. No, we haven't received anything, but we are receiving calls from the PLOs, from the departments, that they still need to send more bills, but we haven't received anything. We haven't received even the JR 159 letters, which indicates that they are intending to submit the bills and when are they intending. But they do call to say there are number of legislation that they still need to send to Parliament, but there's no extension of the deadline, which was on the 4th of September. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Before I allow you, Chief Whip, I will then request the Honorable Papo to clarify this matter as the person who is the liaison with the Office of the Leader of Government Business. Honorable Papo?
Speaker, obviously, these informal arrangements of PLOs cannot be allowed. I think you need to conclude the matter formally with the DP because the deadline has passed. So we can't have this informal arrangements because the DP has been raising this matter, as I said last week, in all cabinet meetings. So this informal arrangement and clumsy arrangement by PLO cannot be allowed. So my understanding is that the deadline has passed, and I don't have any issue. They have not raised these issues with the Office of the Leader of Government Business. So I don't even understand how they can have the guts to even communicate with the office without, and the office itself even wrote final letters to all the ministries. So I think we must not allow this kind of clumsiness from some of the ministries. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Papo. That is my understanding too. Up until now, I have not received a new list of pieces of legislation which will be passed. And yet our deadline was the 4th of September. Now remember, initially we had said it would be end of August, right? Then we negotiated and agreed to a settlement of the 4th of September. So I'm hoping that this is a matter which my office will follow up on and together with Mr. Castle to establish, because as far as I'm concerned now, there is no bill which is coming because no one has said the bills are still coming, even though we have already reached and exceeded the deadline. And allow me to recognize the Chief Whip of the Majority Party.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Hey, Yaksebenza Network, how you are dancing as you are speaking. I like the move. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I thought this matter will come from bills or from committee because we discussed it yesterday in the Chief Whips Forum, the establishment of another committee on General Intelligence Laws Amendment Bill. And we established, we endorsed the establishment that because of the nature of matters of intelligence, we cannot bring new members. It must be the same committee but be converted as an other committee because of the sensitivity of matters that they deal with. If that was reported and I missed out, I apologize for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Whip. Honorable Singh.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to you and to all the colleagues. Now, I agree wholeheartedly with the sentiments expressed by Honorable Papo and yourself regarding the 4th September deadline. However, I think the department should not stop processing this through their own means because the variable will be the date of the election. And I think we're all working on the basis that election will be in May. And that is why we are giving them this deadline. However, if, once we hear the date of the election, I mean, Parliament could still process that legislation, whatever there is. So I just thought that variable comes in, but for now, 4th of September is the deadline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Chief Whip of the Opposition, followed by Honorable Lechisa. And that will be the last speaker on this matter.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I'm in agreement with you. I think a deadline is a deadline, Speaker, and if the executive and Honourable Papua has been notified repeatedly of the deadline, then we should hold the line as the NAPC and yourself, and we should support you in holding the line and saying no more shall be submitted after this. But my big worry, Speaker, is that if bills are not processed properly and the process is bungled and there are legal challenges with it, then it becomes the problem of Parliament in terms of being able to fix those bills because of the process that has been bungled. But the executive is putting us in an unenviable position where we're going to have to do a rush job in trying to process bills before the end of the term. So I agree with you that I think you should take a hard line on this. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Whip of the Opposition Party, Honorable Lechisa. Honorable Lechisa.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Gwahube has stolen my thunder. And this results from having here some chairpersons complaining that because of what they already have on their plates, any additional bill will disrupt the process. There will not be enough time for consideration of matters that they already have. So the risk that we run if we accept additional bills in committees that have already indicated they will not be able to cope is dangerous, and we shouldn't allow that. In fact, Madam Speaker, our teams must indicate to us, just doing an assessment of all committees and what is before them, which will facilitate or in fact be prohibitive from processing any further legislation. That has to be the consideration. And I agree that there needs to be some discipline around these issues. There can't be emergencies all the time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Honorable Member, that concludes the discussion on this matter. There was a deadline of the 4th of September, and beyond that, we have not received a correspondence to the effect that there are negotiations for us to move the date. As far as we are concerned, when we look at the work ahead of us during this period before we adjourn, we may not be able to accommodate any other piece of legislation. It's now the 4th. Today it is the 8th of September, and we've not heard anything from the leader of the government business. But I will be interacting with the leader of government business just to sensitize him about the fact that we have already passed the deadline. Thank you very much, honorable members. I then invite Honorable Seke to present to us the draft parliamentary program.
Thank you so much, Speaker, and good morning to your good self, to the members present and our support staff. The program is as follows. Today, just a reminder, today in the afternoon, we do have the condolences for Ms. Tina Jumanti in the House, and also the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill. There will be declarations go down. Thank you so much. And as agreed last week, the recommendations of reports on removal from office of the Public Protector, as well as nomination of new Public Protector are scheduled for consideration at the City Hall at 2 o'clock on Monday, 11 September, which is a physical sitting. And on the 12th, there will be 4 draft notices on salaries payable to magistrates, judges, South African Human Rights Commission, and the Public Protector. Those are scheduled for consideration on the 12th September. A meeting of the Rules Committee is also scheduled for that day. at 10 o'clock. Going down, questions to the governance cluster is scheduled for the 13th September. The virtual mini plenaries will continue on the 14th September in order to debate motions, members' motions, as well as first reading debate on Constitution 19th Amendment Bill. Yes. The mini plenaries are also scheduled for the 15th September in order to consider reports, petitions, and international agreements. Further updates on the program will be made available next week, Speaker. Thank you so much. If there's anything through you, Mr. Taso will be able to add. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Tseke. Thank you. You wouldn't say it is your first presentation to the NAPC. Thank you very much, Mindy. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Speaker.
Now, honorable members, that was the parliamentary program. At this point, I will then invite the chief whip of the majority party to make her comments on the matter, as she had requested earlier.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues. Honorable Speaker, the matters arising are very clear on what we agreed upon for the 11th on a Monday, a constituency day, where we agreed to have a plenary, and parties endorsed that. We agreed as parties. Honorable Speaker, I'm bringing a recommendation to this National Assembly Programming Committee that when we're discussing this matter, I'm quite aware that some parties were saying they are still going to meet with their caucuses, which was not on that Thursday. There was no scheduling of such caucuses, but we said let's be flexible. I'm bringing the recommendation, Honorable Speaker, that there are two motions on the day. The sitting is starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. After the meeting of the NAPC, one had to go back to the records to check how long did it take on the 13th of December to have a report and voting. It did not take anything less than 3.5 hours. And given the venue and its uncomfortability, the City Hall, we are proposing, Chair, as the ANC, that let's consider one order paper on the day, Section 194 report, and defer the appointment of PP to a later date before we rise for constituency. That will be before the end of September. That is the proposal that we are bringing in terms of the program. And I'm not renegating on what was agreed upon. That is why I start by giving that background. But one had to be realistic, and I know that in passing, Honorable Singh also said, "Hey, that is going to be a long plenary." So, but that we agreed on the 11th. So I'm making an amendment and making a proposal that we consider one motion on that day. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Whip. I now invite Honorable Dr. Mulder, followed by Honorable Buroto.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I think the proposal made by the Chief Whip of the ruling party is a very reasonable proposal. it makes sense. My concern was also about timing in terms of continuing until rather late, because it will take a long time if we vote in the way that it was expressed. So I would support that proposal, and if need be, I'll second it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Mulder. Honorable Buroto.
Thank you, Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. I really want to second the proposal as made by the Chief Whip in that looking at the rules of the National Assembly, we really have that function under programming on 208E, which allows this particular forum to give directives and guidelines and prioritize or postpone any business of the assembly. And with that, it will be consultation with the leader of government business. And I hope that is done. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Buroto. Honorable Singh, followed by Honorable Imam Sheikh, and Honorable Zakude will be the last one.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I must say I'm humbled. I'm humbled that people do listen to me sometimes when I speak in this program committee because I raise this matter about the timing.
Always do.
You do. Thank you. Well, there could be other reasons, but I agree that we cannot deal with two items on that day. But I would also suggest that we heard last week that the availability of the City Hall is quite problematic, and that administration should start working immediately, because we'll have to probably hire the City Hall again, for logistical purposes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The NFP will support the proposal by the Chief Whip. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sheikh Imam. Honorable Tlagude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Good morning to you and my colleagues on the platform. Honorable Speaker, I want to support the already supported proposal by the Chief Whip based on the facts that she put on the table. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Zakude. There's a new hand, Honorable Mukalipi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Before I support or not support the proposal on the table, the last time we discussed these matters, the reason why they told us that the day must be on Monday is because of the unavailability of the venue at the City Hall. So when I listen to the Chief Whip of the majority party, she does not come exactly with a new date to tackle another item that was supposed to be discussed on Monday. Can we be clarified on that one, Speaker? And if you remember very well, Speaker, we also raised an issue with only one venue that is secured, which is the municipality. Why don't we opt for another venues when we want to do our work of Parliament? Because we are going to have this problem for a longest time, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mukalipi. Okay, I see two more hands. Honorable members, I do not want us to prolong this discussion. I will allow you, Honorable Ndombela, Honorable Papo, very briefly, and then Mr. Carter to close the matter.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning to the colleagues. I also wanted to support the motion and the proposal that on the 11th. But also, Madam Speaker, I want to second what the Honorable Singh has suggested, that administration should start working immediately on the alternative date. But also, lastly, Madam Speaker, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the programming whip on her maiden presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ntate Ndombela. Honorable Papo.
Speaker, I think the Chief Whip did indicate that we should have the other item before we rise for this quota. And there are then Member Singh said that this admin must look at the very city, availability of the city hall. And obviously that includes other venues. We've got universities in the city, which we can look at. So I think the principle of looking, if city hall is not available for the other item, they should then look for other viable and not too costly venues. But I don't think we should give them. But I think the principle that we should do it before we rise should be there, and that they then give a report on the availability of the city hall and any other venues in the city.
Thank you, Honorable Papo. Mr. Kaso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Looking at the program, we will recommend, in view of the decision that has just been taken, we will recommend the 21st of September in the afternoon at 2 o'clock for this other item. We will obviously look for venues, and we should be able to give a report as soon as possible. We'll also, Madam Speaker, with the understanding that the 1st of November has been agreed to by this committee, we will also find a venue for the 1st of November because we had provisionally secured the City Hall for the 25th of October. So we'll now have 2 dates that we must get venues for, the 21st September and the 1st of November. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Honorable members, that is the proposal for Mr. Kaso. I will discuss the matter with him, and we will find a venue, honorable members, and we will give a report to you at the next NAPC meeting on Thursday. And honorable members, that then concludes our discussion on the draft parliamentary program. Are there any announcements? Any announcements of the members?
Speaker, what about BRICS?
Oh, sorry. The item on BRICS, are you here, Mr. Sitole?
Good morning, Speaker. I am here.
My apologies. Thank you very much. Will you then please present a report on the BRICS Parliamentary Forum?
Thank you, Speaker. I'm not, Mr. Klasso, do you have the presentation on the screen? Madam Speaker, and honorable members of Parliament, this is the presentation that we are making on the BRICS. I can say that this is the content of the issues that we are going to go through. We are not going to go through all 28 slides. I will just summarize them for honorable members. The first slide that follows after this one will be the theme of the BRICS Parliamentary Forum. You will note that in that slide we indicate that this is the 9th BRICS Parliamentary Forum, but it's the 15th BRICS of the Heads of Summit because Parliament started a few years later than the Heads of State. So they are on the number 15, we are on the number 9. And you will note that below the bullet number 3, the theme is the harnessing multilateralism and parliamentary diplomacy, deepening BRICS and Africa partnership to accelerate the implementation of the Africa Free Trade Agreement. And the object of that is to basically bring the centrality of the African continent in our international engagement, and with the hope that the BRICS will then serve as a locomotive to pull the Africa's development to a different trajectory. That's basically the thinking behind the theme. It's a theme that seeks investment, seeks development, the way it's couched. The next slide. We've put up the slides just to indicate to ourselves to say what exactly does South Africa expect to get out of the BRICS Parliamentary Forum. One, these are the 4 things that we outline in this particular slide, is basically that in 2018, South Africa submitted an MOU for to formalize the BRICS establishment in terms of the BRICS Parliamentary Forum and to get it into the form of an organization. So since 2018, it has been a move to and fro between countries to sort out the amendments and the discussion on the MOU. And we are hoping that in 2023, the environment is opportune for member parliaments to finally agree on setting up that MOU. And we are tabling that MOU in the coming BRICS meeting so that it can be finalized. Meetings are going on between countries where they have amendments, where they have other suggestions, and our legal services is seized with the document together with ourselves. The second aspect is that there will be a document that will outline the outcome of the 2 days that will be sitting, the 27th and the 28th. That document is also been between the member parliaments to look at it, and will be consolidating it and presenting it before the delegation of the country before the BRICS parliamentary process takes place. We're just waiting for them to make their amendments and comments so that we bring a document that is proper. And basically what we are also pushing for is that the BRICS Parliamentary Forum should establish a form of a secretariat of some sort that will be able to follow through on issues, to follow up on issues from one BRICS chairperson to another. There should be a continuation. It must not be a disjoint. And we are suggesting that some form of a coordinating structure that needs to exist so that all decisions that are made are being followed up after the sittings. And of course, the idea is to bring BRICS nearer to the communities that members of parliament represent. Next slide. This slide, honorable members, deals with the date, the venue, and the participation. The venue is Emperor's Palace. We have sought to get a venue that will give us both accommodation and a conferencing center to reduce the movement between 2, 3, 4 areas. So Emperor's Palace offered us that opportunity. All delegations will be accommodated in Emperor's Palace, and the conferencing facility will be also be done in Emperor's Palace. All countries, because most of the countries in BRICS have 2 houses. Each house has been invited. It will be led by the presiding officer and 5 members of parliament. And in that case, it gives the country 12 delegates, 2 presiding officers from different houses, and then 10 members of parliament. In our case, the NCOP and the NA. You'll also note that in China, because they have 1 house, we have set the 1 + 11, so that they can get the same equivalent number of people. In the South African context, we have identified the focus group on BRICS to constitute the delegation. Over and above that, the National Assembly and the NCOP has been given the number of 20 and 14 respectively to add on the delegations, and members of the provincial legislature, speakers of the provincial legislatures have been invited. Speakers of the metros are invited, and of course, the region has been invited, both from the SADC Parliamentary Forum, the Pan-African Parliament, the CPA Africa region, the speakers in the region from Mozambique to Lesotho have been invited to participate in this particular BRICS. So the following slides will be actually dealing with those issues that I've raised. That's a slide that I was talking about, indicating the speakers that have been invited. Can you go through? Those I indicated that these are the speakers that will also be added with the invitation going out for them to join the BRICS. The next slide. Honorable members, I'm not going to waste time on this particular one, but basically this slide is to communicate to honorable members that the Knowledge Division of Parliament, together with the Human Science Research Council, we've partnered with them in terms of preparation of reports of all documents, of the report of the outcome of the conference, of supporting the workflow in terms of content document of the BRICS Parliamentary Forum. So our division is the one that is actually doing all those work together with Human Science Research Council. The next slide. Of course, we've indicated that there will be issues around the MOU and issues around the joint statement, and that in terms of the program, I want us to go to the program so that I can take members through the program. Honorable members, this is a draft program on the 27th. On the 26th, we are hoping that all the countries will be arriving on that particular day. We are making preparations for that. And on the 27th, there will be an opening. There will be a keynote speaker that will be opening the conference. And of course, after break, all countries will be given the opportunity to make statements, and there will be a formal dinner of welcoming all the delegates in the BRICS Parliamentary Forum. And the day will then end with the next day being the 28th, starting also in the morning and breaking that day into commissions. All commissions are 4 in all, and all those commissions, what we did to get countries to participate, we have divided countries. Those will be chairing, will not be doing the reporting. Those will be reporting, will not be doing the chairing. So each parliament will then be given the responsibility to chair and to report to the assembly, so as to get all the other parliaments participating in the BRICS engagement, so they don't become passive participant, but they become active in the engagement. On the 29th is an excursion of those delegates that will not be departing on the 29th. We are aware that there will be delegates that will be departing on the 29th, but those that were not departing, we have planned a social engagement with them at the Freedom Park, and just to go through our history. And of course, they will then depart on the 29th. Those that are departing and those who are departing on the 30th will depart on the 30th. On the 28th in the evening, there will be a cocktail dinner just to say goodbye to the delegations. On the 27th, it will be a welcoming dinner, a formalized dinner. And on the 28th will be a cocktail type dinner. And on the 29th, we are hoping that those that are traveling, we will then be clearing them out, and those who are traveling the following day will be cleared up. But we hope that by the 30th, all our delegations will have left our shores. Next slide. Speaker, the slides that are following now are slides that deals with the workshops, or call them commissions. They will give you a program chair. As I indicated earlier, that if the chair is South Africa in that instance, the rapporteur will be the person from the National Congress or the Federative Republic of Brazil. If the chair is Brazil, China will be the rapporteur. However, we've made it easier for all members of parliament that will be doing that, taking into account all the issues of language and so on. Our division on knowledge will be providing all the reports that these rapporteurs will present to the assembly. They will write the report. They will standardize the manner in which this report are presented, so that we can have an accurate record of that support. So the support base of members of parliament will be chairing, and those will be doing rapporteur has been prepared between ourselves and Human Science Research Council. So they'll be supported throughout. So the slides that are following is basically the commissions and the name of the commission and the people that we have invited as scholars to lead the topic, and so that they can then set the scene for discussion. On this other one, I've spoken about it just to indicate to members of parliament that the registration of all the delegations is done electronically. Once we have received the South African delegation from the two houses, our colleagues will capture them in the system, so that we can then be able to accredit them on that particular day. The next slide. This slide basically, Speaker, is just to deal with the rooms that we've secured in the venue. I don't think that I'll waste time for members of parliament. It just gives us a detail of which room we've booked for what. And of course, this gives the detail of all these things. This is the slide that, just the slide before this one, just to speak about this slide. This slide, it's a slide that will be seen when members log into the portal of the BRICS Parliamentary Forum that has been designed by our communication division. You'll see all this background, the background of the country, the background of the province, and of course, the background that we are selling of a country that is amenable for visitors and so on. As I indicated, that even the topic is to try to drive the element of that particular investment. So the portal is there. We will make it available for honorable members to log in and just look at what we are posting in that particular portal. This, I'm not going to waste time again. It's just a question of indicating the communication strategy. The security is handled by the net joints, and our colleagues have been in the security meetings throughout. I can only indicate that the security staff is meeting weekly to do all the necessary preparations for the purpose of the sitting. This will be the accreditation cards. They will look differently for different categories of people, and they will look in this particular fashion for purposes of identification for security and ease movement during the conference. I'll skip this slide. It's just a question of transport detail that we are having. And just to indicate and to assure members of parliament that all the compliance certificates that we require from the hotel, they have been declared, they've been given to our safety officers, just to make sure that we are in the venue that complies with all the legal requirements. And of course, these are the certificates that they required in terms of healthy. And all these issues deal with those specific matters. These are the key dates that we've put in place for different training of different people. What we have not worked out in this process is a date that we'll discuss with the Office of the Speaker, just to have a few consultation with the delegation as a whole, just before the event takes place, so that we brief the delegation of all the things that they expect and what they expect to see on the actual day or 2 days. So we'll find the date, and we'll then be able to schedule a meeting where the whole delegation of South Africa is taken through a detailed briefing. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
It's me, Daddy. Any comment on the presentation, members? Any comment on the presentation?
Deputy Speaker, my hand is up.
Go ahead, Daddy.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker, and it's nice to see you in the chair. Deputy Speaker, I would like to raise 3 issues. I'm very happy that the Secretary General of the Intercontinental Trade is going to be a very important speaker. And the reason I say that is because for the success of the Africa intercontinental trade, we must not estrange other countries. We need every country in the world to assist. And I'm sure that the Secretary General will do his best not to isolate other countries, because we don't want to be seen that we're giving preference and favoritism to BRICS countries. Having said that, it is also very important that the trade road from Algeria to Cape Town, that some attention must be given to that, because that will be very key in the 14-year plan that I'm aware of that has been approved by the African Union. Lastly, Deputy Speaker, are you satisfied that Freedom Park has been cleaned up and has been restored to its former glory so that we are not embarrassed?
Okay. Any other questions? Or comments?
Probably your gadget doesn't show. We raised hands. Can I?
Okay, I see you now. Go ahead, man.
Okay, thank you. Speaker, thank you very much. We want to
Deputy.
appreciate the Deputy Speaker. We want to appreciate the presentation by Ubaba Stole. And I just want us maybe from this meeting to get clarity on the proportionality of the parties, the number of delegations, if it's ready, but it can be sent to us so that we know exactly the office of the chief whip that will be whips that will be dealing with the names, so that this online registration should not be the last minute thing. Secondly, maybe just to clarify, Babu Stole, when you talk of the delegations, you talk of presiding officers. Sometimes we confuse presiding officers and executive authority. Who are we talking about? So that it shouldn't be a burden to the chief whips to find out. Thank you.
Okay. Any other? If there's
Thank you.
no other,
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
Right.
Yeah, I also want to appreciate the presentation, the elaborate presentation made by Ubaba Stole. I wanted to make an appeal on the question of security. That I'm glad that there's a focus on security, but I wish they could be given a special focus, because it is an area of that nature that sustains our integrity as a country. So, but I'm glad that there is a special focus on matters of security. On the issue of delegation, I really would like a consideration be given to not only the focus group on BRICS, but the PGIR members as well, because they are also dealing with multilateralism as their core business. So maybe that could also be taken into consideration as the delegations are being finalized. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. And that is told. Please respond.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, can I come first before?
Okay, all right. Okay, please go ahead, Chief Whip.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me also appreciate Utini. Okay, Deputy, Sawona. Let me appreciate the presentation and further say we met as the Chief Whips Forum, and we have a principal agreement that whilst there is proportional representation in terms of attendance, we must also look at the possibility of accommodating all the parties, even small parties, because this is hosted in our soil in South Africa, and it will be good that members from different parties get that exposure of this BRICS Parliamentary Forum. So we agreed on that, and Mr. Chaso, Mr. Stole and the team are working on that, and parties will be informed in due course. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker.
Thank you very much. Just to say that, Honorable Hanif, the Freedom Park. I was there the other day. No, Freedom Park is in a great state, but Dr. Stoller will respond to that.
Deputy Speaker, my hand was long up.
It was a black thing, actually. My apologies. Please speak.
Deputy Speaker, thanks very much. I'm covered by Mamu Boroto on the delegation and how it's going to be divided amongst political parties. There is one. The second one, I need the clarity from Ubabu Stole, whoever can give a clarity. You know, in our committee in particular, we just received an invitation that we must be in Durban and attend BRICS. The unfortunate part, Deputy Speaker, is that the committee secretary have shut down the WhatsApp group. We can't comment. So we are just told one day before the summit to take place in Durban, there we must submit our ID numbers. And we can't even talk back to say, can we get more clarity about this BRICS summit? How is it coordinated? Because Babu Stole is just doing the presentation here on the BRICS summit that is yet to take place, but yet other committees are already invited. But since the WhatsApp group of the committees has been controlled, not everyone as members can ask for clarity. How is it coordinated? How are we going to process these issues to our caucuses for more clarity and better understanding? Thank you very much.
Okay. And that is told. Is there anybody else?
My hand is up.
Talk.
I think we the logistics and the numbers, Deputy Speaker, must be worked by the presiding officers. What member, the member just raised that we cannot have portfolio committees being invited when you have an institution. I think that must be stopped. We sometimes get so disorganized as a country at times, where we have little pieces of coordination. So I think that must be stopped. There has to be a delegation of the institution and not of sub-institutions, sub-structures of the institution. That's what I wanted to do, because I think what she has raised, it's very concerning. You can't have portfolio committees invited and they are not supposed to be part of the delegation, because it has to be institutional representation and the country's representation at that parliamentary forum. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else? Please talk if I don't notice your gadget.
Deputy Speaker, on the issue raised by Honorable Mkalipi, we will get the details and attend to the matter. I also just wanted to indicate that the delegation announced yesterday was ANC 12, DA4, EFF2, IFP1, and FF+1. The request made by the other parties is receiving favorable consideration, and the information will be conveyed to the honorable members. On announcement, I would like to make an announcement, but once we are done with this item. Thank you.
Yeah. Is there any other issue that needs responding to by Dr. Stoll? Dr. Stoll, do you have any comment you want to make on this matter?
Chair, Deputy Speaker, I just wanted to indicate that in terms of the delegation, all the House chairpersons, 3 from the NA and I think 2 from the NCOP will be part of the delegation. The focus group on BRICS will be part of the delegation. So that takes care the issue of the House chairperson in terms of the PGIR. The focus group will be part. And of course, what Mr. Klaus has indicated is that we with the discussion yesterday with the chief whips, originally the NA was allocated 20 members. We are looking at the additional numbers in terms of accommodating the principle that was raised yesterday, and the chief whip spoke about it this morning. And the NCOP will have 14 members in total. 4 will be joining the focus group and 10 will be coming from the NCOP. And just to indicate, Deputy Speaker, that we are dealing with the BRICS Parliamentary Assembly. Issues of the BRICS Summit, that was handled by the executive. We may not be in a position to answer the details in detail about it. But we're dealing with the BRICS Parliamentary Assembly. And our understanding is that there will be a time where we'll set up a date to take through the whole delegation through a thorough preparatory work on that.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we may not be able to answer Honorable Mkhalipi because we also don't have details on that matter. But once we get
Okay.
details, we may assist.
Okay. All right, honorable members, this was intended to be an update, progress, preparation for the forum.
Mr. Speaker.
And when it, yes, Ndadit Klaso?
Madam Speaker's hand is up.
Oh, okay. Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I wanted to come at the end after Honorable Mr. Kaso has come in with announcements. Thank you.
No, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I think the baton is in your hand now. Clearly, I've seen it. It's there. Take it.
No, the baton is not in my hands. I've requested you to chair because I don't feel.
Okay,
Please
it's all right.
do
I thought, yeah, okay. Ndadit Klaso, have you finished your announcement?
Come in.
So no, I just want to indicate that, as indicated earlier, the date of the 21st will still be confirmed because we also need to look, one, at the venue, but also the impact on committees that might be traveling at that time. But members that will must be that
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Madam Speaker, you wanted to
Thank you
comment?
very much. Thank you. Thank you. Honorable Deputy Speaker and honorable members, recall that when we started the restoration process and after the allocation which was given to us by National Treasury through the MTBPS, we made an undertaking that a total of 155 offices will be ready by the time we go back to another MTBPS. Just to say that offices are ready, but not only that, I think on Wednesday we will afford an opportunity to all members who had lost their items, whether gadgets or whatever it is which was left in the office, which may have been affected by what has happened to the institution through fire, will be given an opportunity to them and be escorted to go and identify the items which were left in their offices. Remember, Deputy Speaker, that throughout, members could not access the building and members could therefore not check whether their items were destroyed or not. I'm aware now from the report which I have received that all of those items have been collected and put in one place, and that members will be allowed to then go and identify their belongings. Thank you very much. That will be next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next week, Wednesday. Okay. No, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Honorable members, we've come to the end of our meeting. The rest of the work in progress will be delivered at the next meeting, next Thursday. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, yes, and Speaker.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank
you,
Tate.
Recording stopped.
Thank you.